This program has been made possible by a grant from the UCF Office of Research and Commercialization.
The UCF Office of Research and Commercialization is committed to moving the discoveries of our faculty and students from ideas to innovation to realization. By moving research from the laboratory to the private sector, we are helping to diversify Florida's economy and helping to bring high-paying jobs to our state. This program presents some examples of our research and our efforts to transition this research to the private sector.
Hello once again and welcome to Zenith. I'm Ed Hyland, and today our program takes us into the world of dirt. Yes, dirt. There is serious research underway to help us better understand soil erosion and what we can do to prevent the loss of this critical part of our ecology. We'll also spend some time out in the Old West. An era of cinema history provides the backdrop for groundbreaking research in the way teaching is providing students with virtual lessons, plus a peek into the latest lab research. It's all coming up on Zenith.
The University of Central Florida Technology Incubator, cultivating success through creative ideas, performance, and partnerships.
Because there's a lot of people doing a lot of work every day, and that's what everybody brings together. Certainly, it wouldn't be successful without the partnerships.
The UCF Technology Incubator is a university-driven community partnership providing early-stage technology companies with the enabling tools, training, and infrastructure to create financially stable, high-growth enterprises. With locations in the Central Florida Research Park, adjacent to the UCF campus in East Orlando and in downtown Orlando, the UCF-TI is home to over 50 new and innovative high-tech companies. That's up from 12 companies when the incubator opened its doors in 1999. The incubator has created hundreds of high-paying jobs in Central Florida with an average annual salary of $59,000. Our clients include SiloQuest produces process consumables used in the manufacturing of integrated circuits. The company's technology was developed in partnership with the University of Central Florida Center for Research and Education in Optics and Lasers, otherwise known as Creole. The UCF Technology Incubator, promoting optimal corporate growth and making a significant contribution to the economic development of the region's high technology sector.
The Wild West has a special place in movie history, but now it's also a part of teaching history. A dynamic new research program called Cowboys with Cameras is taking lessons from remote areas directly to students via a unique satellite internet connection.
Here we are in Monument Valley again. This scene is where the stagecoach and the soldiers come up the historic road. This was the original road, which was here in 1936 with John Ford. As you can see from the scene you watched in the film, the soldiers come up and the stagecoach come up the road. My normal research, I'm a professor of digital media and film, is in historic film locations. So I've done a lot of research there for other reasons. I just hadn't taken a camera crew. Monument Valley is an American icon, if not a Western icon to the world. This serves as the American West to all of the world. What I want to do is I want to explore how you can create a kind of you are there experience to create the sense that those that can't go on a field research due to their place bound, because they have children, because they're disabled, they have a job, they would be able to participate and come with the team to remote areas.
Right now we're standing on a hard gravel.
I learned that pounding in my tent stakes
Right.
over there, solid rock. And
So
still
anyways,
participate in some other way than your traditional online learning, which is really just text-based.
What you have is the under rock is not as hard as the over rock, and so it's undercutting it.
So with that, my graduate student Adam Lenz, and Adam was a great assistance. He's as much as this as I am. I said, Adam, we need to find a way in which we can find a portable dish that allows us to broadcast anywhere in the world in real time, that has minimum requirements of power, and it cannot be based on cell technology. It has to be independent of that, because many places have no power, have no cell connection. So we started doing our research on who was doing that. First off, who was doing that nationally? Well, no one was doing it nationally. No universities were doing it nationally. And then I stumbled across Trackstar, and it was very interesting because they ended up being less than a mile from here. They're about a mile, actually about a mile from here. And they were the last one I came to after going to Utah, after going up north to see another company.
Phil Peters, a professor at UCF, and his crew approached us after a lot of research in the market and explained their concept of taking Cowboys with cameras out to Utah and doing the research out there with a group of students and graduate students. And that fits our application perfectly because they were mobile and they were remote.
Here we are. There's Camelback Mountain there. We're looking south. We always have to have our dish facing south. Nathan is our network operations here. He's got our control board up and running. He keeps us online. You can see that this, I want to point out a little bit about our satellite. Trackstar has a very innovative satellite dish. It breaks down into five pieces. It fits into a bag, and then that bag goes in one of these boxes. So our whole satellite system travels in these two black boxes. The command center is off of this laptop here that Nathan runs. And then we have our network engineer, technical director back in UCF.
What these products do is allow you to communicate when there's no terrestrial communications infrastructure available. So by taking one of our small portable satellite antennas, they're able to have telephone communications, World Wide Web access for office applications, including internet. But most importantly, Phil Peters' concept was to take the professor out into the field and teach the course from there. And we were able to give him a live video stream from the remote site. And of course, UCF's contribution was to basically set up a classroom environment over the internet into a web portal that they developed for this project, where students could actually log in and participate in the classroom live with the students and the professor in the field.
I took there was myself, I had my producer, John Nelson, I had my videographer, John Jones, I had my what we call the on-site computer operator, which was Nathan Draylock, and then back here was Adam Lenz, who was here as the running the board here. Then I had 50 students and adult learners, primarily in Florida, but they could be anywhere in the world, and they had log-ons, and they would participate in the class. We had a schedule, and 3 times a day we would broadcast. In between, I could ask them to do assignments, but I would know who was on, who was not. We would do interviews. It was like a class that I knew who was there. Welcome to Monument Valley. Today we're going to be looking at the scenes from The Searchers. We're out finding those historic scenes from the 1956 classic starring John Wayne, directed by John Ford, many to be considered John Ford's finest film. The dust and the dryness and the dirt roads just make it difficult, and I wanted to put the team under the stress so we could make sure that we knew that we could then go anywhere and do this as a service. we could take a classroom anywhere to anyone. So in theory, the most advantage of both would be from a remote location to a remote location. So here's someone giving a class from the jungles of South America to people spread around the world. So it really is that's what makes it different.
Peters believes the research can include more interactive discussions and go even to more remote locations like the rainforest or Antarctica. Coming up next here on Zenith, one of our most common natural resources is disappearing: dirt. How the study of erosion can help us take better care of our environment. But first, let's dig into a few factoids. Erosion is slowly claiming one of our most precious resources, the earth. And by that I mean good old dirt. Research is ongoing to seek ways to fight erosion, and we visited the Stormwater Academy to see it in action.
These are unique stormwater labs that we use for assessing different quality and quantity aspects of the stormwater projects. When I say it's unique, they're one of a kind. There's nothing else in the world, the whole world, that can compare to what we have here. As an example, our rainfall simulator, we can rain up to 20 inches per hour for short periods of time, like 5 minutes. Now that emulates and simulates the real conditions that we have here in the Florida environments, whereas other simulators in the world cannot. They only can go up to maybe 2 inches per hour. Plus we have ways of studying the erosion control properties of a raindrop that hits the ground with certain kind of cover crops that nobody else can do. So in that sense, the rainfall runoff simulators that we have out here are very unique and very beneficial, because many of the products that we use today on our roadways, on bare lands and so forth, we want to make sure they work so that the investments that the public is making in stormwater control are truly beneficial in the long run.
One of the bigger problems we have from soil that is exposed is that when it rains, the sediment that comes off of it goes into our stormwater utilities, and it pollutes our waterways. And you have to treat it. You can't just discharge it. So what we decided to do was to come up with a full-scale, almost a scale test of what would happen when it rains, and how much soil actually does come off the slope. How can we treat it so that we can, how can we collect it first and then treat it? But also, how can we prevent it from actually starting to erode? And we found that Purdue University and some of the other places, such as San Diego and Texas A&M, have simulators already out there, test beds with simulators. None of them were coming anywhere close to 10 inches an hour, which is our target. By the way, we decided to have maybe 20 inches an hour, just to give us in the future an ability to go with hurricane level rainfall. We may look at roofing materials on this bed, so that you could see what happens as you get different slopes of different types of, a Spanish roof versus a regular roof, and so on. Our immediate project, for example, that we're going to start next month, is what happens if you put fertilizer, which we do a lot of, on slopes on the roadsides, slopes that you see on embankments. And what happens to the runoff? What is the quality of water that comes off of that?
Are you also growing the plants that perhaps will be used in experiments for the raindrop experiments?
Yes, our horticulture groups and the Arboretum here are providing plants, so they're available for projects like this. For much larger projects, much bigger roofs and so forth, a new industry has developed in Florida, and the native plant industry, for providing this. So there's a lot of spin-offs from our research. Certainly it's homegrown jobs, local economy. Keep the local economy going, keep the jobs here, and green roofs are perfect for that. The other type of stuff we have going on here in stormwater is to promote the infiltration of the waters into the ground. So we have all different kinds of pervious pavements out here. We have pervious concrete, pervious asphalt, pervious pavers blocks, and a new product called the FlexiPave. And FlexiPave is recycled rubber. Rubber tires, that is. We also use these rubber tires in a way to remove pollutants. So we grind up the tire into a coffee grain size, and this acts as a sorbent and takes the pollutants out of the water. Again, saving the people lots of money. Another big project, the tanks which are around us here, is on stormwater reuse and the use of stormwater. Why do we have to water our grass with potable water that costs upwards of $2, maybe up to $5, and if you're down in Key West, $10 to $20 a 1,000 gallons, when you can do it with stormwater for only 50 cents a 1,000 gallons? Again, saving money and also protecting the environment.
But the idea was to bump up to Florida-type conditions. We'll test Florida-type soils, Florida conditions, and no one does that in the United States. And as far as I know, no one has a bed this size in the world. So it's a unique facility we've designed here to come up with data that we can think is meaningful, both to the research community, but ultimately to the Florida Department of Environmental Protection that's interested in reducing the water pollution in our state.
We had to come up with different ideas. We thought about
Understanding erosion can also help us combat sinkholes, since it's a form of erosion that triggers them. It seems our time is also eroding, but we've always got a minute for research.
We'll take their training manual and I will make scenarios and everything they have to do in their test that they do out on the field. We'll put it in the scenarios of things they can't do on a field. So of course you won't want them working with pedestrians where they have to stop quickly. In emergency responses, we can have pedestrians running out when they're crossing through intersections, long chases, animals, kids, bike riders running. I can put all that movement with weather. Of course you have, like, let's say this is this truck scenario here, you wouldn't get somebody in Florida who may be driving, but he may be headed to Washington where he's never been in snow. So on the simulator he can get practice in weather conditions and those kind of things we can add into simulation that they won't get on the road.
And that is all the time we have today for Zenith. But look for us again on your local cable system or check us out on the web at www.zenith.ucf.edu. The goal of research is to better understand the world around us. Our goal is to be a window to that world. I'm Ed Highland. Thanks for joining us.